Described by Fortune magazine as the most influential consultant alive, Dr. Ram Charan is a world-renowned business advisor, author and speaker who has spent most of his time with companies as well as working with top executives of one of the world's most successful companies, including GE, Novartis, KLM, Bank of America, Aditya Birla Group, the Tata Group, and many more. He's authored over 25 books that have sold over 2 million copies in over a dozen languages and is known for cutting through the complexity of running through business in today's fast-changing environment to uncover the core of the business problem. He now joins us to talk a lot more about the future in a post-COVID world, resetting the businesses and pivoting one's strategy with the right mindset. Dr. Charan, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us today on ET Now. Now, they say that some years are like a lifetime, and last year was certainly one such year that in many ways have really changed the world as we know it, have changed business as we know it. Your home and workplace have merged. What are the reset business leaders should be pressing in this ever-changing world?
First, thank you for having me on this discussion and presentation. The leaders of today and tomorrow, business leaders, political leaders, any leader, have the basic attitude: every day is a new day. We have uncertainty as a part of life. So every business leader has to look his or her assumption about the future and see what fits what we have, what does not fit, we must not have, and what we see future opportunity, and therefore, what is it we need we don't have? These are three questions. They are asked continuously, re-evaluated, and discussed, and then say where we devote our energy, where we take our risks. So in this recent past, COVID, many of the things that were happening before it have been accelerated. Many people, many leaders procrastinated in digitization. They paid penalty. Those who were doing it, they got accelerated. They got the benefit for it, and they're now ready to go to the next level. But the most important change most companies are going to have: people before business. Get to know your people, look at their safety, make them, help them succeed, help them get their energies coming out, be creative. Second change that was happening but got fully accelerated, that we must be customer-centric. We must serve each customer uniquely. We must provide last-mile delivery. We must pay attention to how the behavior of the consumer is changing, even though you do not directly sell it to the customer. And a third change, you must innovate for the customer. Customer is demanding, customer behavior is changing. Customer can compare one against the other. Customer is never satisfied, and that's the good news. And that means we must have speed, and we must have customer attention. And in doing that, we must align our business to the new reality. These are the four things that every company, every leader really get to the basics and rearrange priorities and tasks and see a very bright future, because we're going to have $30 trillion new economy in 10 years. Our current economy is 90 trillion worldwide. The initiatives coming out from the government of India, from China, you will see from the United States, they're all pointing to new economy initiatives. India is going to have its unfair share. A large number of initiatives are coming from Government of India, money being allocated, barriers being reduced. We can always be critical, but we also must recognize these initiatives. And if we execute them well, we will be the fastest growing economy in the coming years.
So, Dr. Charan, a lot of changes were made to business models of companies in order to survive, in order to remain relevant for customers. Do you think that now businesses need to reimagine everything, that the old mold is not relevant any longer?
Great question. First, what is a business model? Business model is the anatomy how a business makes money or how a business loses money and how a business creates sustainable shareholder value. But in addition to that, how business keep customers, how business gets repeat customer, how business builds brand. In the age of social media, in the age of digital usage, in the age of machine learning, it all has changed. You have Amazon that has changed retailing. You have Tesla that is changing automobile industry. You have Apple that has changed the old cell industry and now on the verge of changing the health industry. So these factors require that our leaders learn, imagine, be creative within the limits of ethics and code of conduct to invent new ways to create business models and then think about their strategy. We have business models where we have the investors can sustain losses of a company for almost a decade and wait patiently and then create a new business. People like Uber, Lyft, many of these have been funded for a long time. Companies like Flipkart have been funded for a long time and they were creating new businesses, new competition, and so on. So yes, in this age of digitization, in this age of personalization, in the age of the social media, every business must think through a new way. What should be the money-making model? What should be the business model? What should be the organization structure? What should be new reward systems? It must be reimagined.
That certainly is the call of the day, especially with the kind of changes we've witnessed last year. And as the world is vaccinating, Dr. Charan, there is that sense of normalcy now gradually returning. What are the things that you expect to remain the same and the things that you think will change?
Yeah. So Avanne, we never change our basic values. They must not change. Respecting individuals, ethics, honesty, treating people with dignity, helping people grow, become better. They don't change. But there are other things going to change. One of them is the speed of decision making. It happened in the COVID era, and it's going to continue. So is in my company having the right speed of decision making? Do I have my organization engine that is responsive faster, that's responsive in tune with the external change? How do I deal with the rigidities of my organization that prevent disconnection of the internal decision making in tune and speed with the external change? That must change fast. Am I using the right technology? Am I investing enough in the technology and building the future? Because here, if you don't build the future, your short term becomes shorter. And then the most important part is people. Do you have the right people? Are you developing the right people? Are you removing the roadblocks going forward? Are you training the people in the new game of digitization, in the new game of personalization, in the new game of speed of decision making? How good are you in doing that? Because the opportunities are enormous. A $30 trillion economy, the government of India releasing these funds and initiatives and more foreign direct investment coming in. Our issue should be which opportunities to focus and be the best in the world in executing them. Execution increases trust, increases credibility, increases capacity.
And now a lot of companies have changed the way they work with the work from home model. Considering that man is a social animal, how feasible is this? Does it help in productivity as we cut down our commute time? Or do you think that we'll in no time be just going back to the way things were?
Avanne, we should clarify what productivity of human being is. The old method, coming for 100 years, you do more with less. It's largely you cut costs, do more. In the economy where brains are important, in the economy where you're using data, in the economy where you're using software, we should change the definition. And the definition is the human mind's creativity. If you are more creative, if you focus on the right creativity items that create higher value, that's productivity. We all know that creativity requires a social interaction. Whether you do in the offices, whether you travel, whether you do through Zooms, every company needs to decide its way that promotes creativity, that promotes working together, teamwork to get things done. Facilitate that. Today with Zoom, we can have on the Zoom even 50 people from all over the world who could participate in a decision. So those who are making decisions know how to orchestrate a meeting of 50 people. In the 50 people, you can include the person who was on the actual scene with the customer and gives you information and data unfiltered, and you cut the hierarchical layers out. That we need to do. And each company, each sector has to figure out what is the right combination that promotes creativity of the mind. Creativity of minds have no limits. What the revenues can be, what the ideas can be. That's what we need to do. And they all come through social interactions.
Sure. So be it via Zoom or be it in person, social interaction, teamwork is critical. Now, Dr. Charan, something that you've spoken about very extensively, there's a big trend that we've seen through COVID primarily, digitisation. You think that that can help boost productivity multifold? Because that's something that you've been stressing on.
Yes, Avanne. First is that creativity means new ideas. That's productivity. New products, new way to sell, new way to do innovation. We do not define productivity the old way, that let us do time and motion study, and you do the same work with fewer people. Those days should be over. This is the era of technology. This is the era of innovation. This is the era, you have so many startups. They're highly productive. They work day and night to think of new ideas, test new ideas. So that's what I mean. We have to change the productivity definition into the technology renaissance. Now, digitization is not optional. Digitize or die. You and I are on digitization right now. You buy things through digitization today. So digitization is now mandatory. It is an imperative. It's like in the old days when electricity came, it became imperative. Can you imagine in America, in India, living without electricity? I did in my early days. See the difference. Now we say, how do we use machine learning? There, machine learning links to you each customer personalization. Machine learning gives you data, helps you create faster decisions. There is a myth that it costs too much to do digitization. Our companies in India are not of the size of America or China. There are few, but not many, but most are not. So I want to absolutely mention, you do bite sizes digitization. Most of them are under $300,000. You can see results in less than 4 months, piece by piece, bite by bite. And this way, you start doing the digitization. Every bite you can see results. We have Indian companies in India who do this. They are not big companies. They are small companies who now developed in the last 3 years to be able to do the digitization at lower cost and very fast. You digitize your last mile. People do that. You can create a Go store like Amazon has. There are companies that will do it for you. So we have these outsourcing companies that can do that for you.
And as they say, Dr. Charan, if you can't beat them, join them. What would be your advice to the old or traditional business leaders whose businesses have been disrupted by these new digital players? What's the advice?
Yeah, I think it's happening. The key here is you go to the first things I mentioned. You look at your new customers, new competition, new technologies, imagine it. See how much opportunity is there. Then work backwards from there. With whom you want to join? Why do you want to join? If you did not join, what are the repercussions? What are the negatives? People are joining that. People are linking with that. In Walmart in America, they bought a company that has done digitization. It has made a big change. There are digital companies that are hooking up. It's common in banking. The digital software companies are now linking with the banks. They are able to do both the selling the software and selling the banking services. So you must move with speed, but remember, keep your eye on the customer. Keep your eye what the customer wants. Keep your eye on speed, on innovation, and your business money-making model. And then keep choosing who could be your, what they call ecosystem, who could be your partners. What is it for them in it, and what is in it for you from them? It is now an imperative.
Okay. If you had to narrow it down, Dr. Charan, what would be your view on the economic outlook for India over the next 5 years?
The Prime Minister had announced the 5 trillion goal for GDP. It may be postponed a little bit. COVID delayed a few bit, maybe by about a year. The initiatives that are being announced are enormous. As I said, India will be the fastest growth economy in the coming years. We will be, in 5 years, most likely, third or fourth largest economy on this planet. We invest our time in thinking constructively. We invest our attitude to get things done faster. Nothing is perfect anywhere in any country. I invest a lot of time in many countries, China, Brazil, Japan. We focus our efforts together to take the nation forward. To do that, we must become number one in getting things done. We get things done, more people want to come here, more businesses want to come here. India has a singular distinction, the brain power. In America now, we have Indians running, Indian-born, trained, running world's largest corporations. We have raw talent in India. Focus here, drive here. And when we talk together, let's focus on what we need to do, how to get it done, and not focus what is going wrong. Because it's okay if something going wrong, then we say what we're going to do. But become the best in getting things done. We will have flood of investments coming in.
You spoke of policies and announcements by the government. India has grabbed the opportunity that has been thrown by COVID, be it Atmanirbhar Bharat or claiming its rightful place in the world, in the pharma space, in technology. You think that the next decade in India could move toward a higher growth orbit?
Yeah, I have no doubt. We will begin to see this really Indian economic and social engine moving in less than 2 years. I don't have to wait for the whole decade. People will see that. The seeds of this engine are now in place. And if we don't do in 2 years, we won't have a decade. So I feel very good. The world is changing, opportunities are coming. The programs that I read, the government is announcing and allocating money and focused. This is the era for Indian business people to get on the train. Train is moving. I am not denying there are problems. I'm not denying there are legislative problems, other kinds of problems. Focus on what we can do, will do, should do. We've solved some problems as we go along, but we are far ahead than we were a year ago.
All right, and on that optimistic note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much, Dr. Charan, for sharing with us your deep insights and ideas on value creation as well as growth for businesses, companies, and the country.
Yeah, so I want to thank you all. And my request to all of us fellow, I was born in India in a small town. Focus on the positives, get things done. Become a standard. The world say Indian businesses are the best in getting things done. They execute. We can do that without being the largest economy in the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.